Hey all, here are OS Reviews. Today we're taking a closer look at the Mpow M9. These are budget TWS wireless buds, which sell for around 30 bucks. I've seen it hovering as low as 25 when it's on sale, so it is very inexpensive. Mpow was a pretty popular brand making low-cost headphones and TWS buds about a year or two ago, but as the competition has gotten tougher and tougher, as more brands have entered this space, making it just harder to compete these days. Now again, this particular model comes in actually two versions. There's a pure black edition, which looks pretty similar to just every other pair in terms of the color scheme. There's also a red edition that you see here, which has a few red accents on the buds as well as in the casing, which makes it look a bit more distinctive. However, aside from the color, both versions are exactly the same, yet Mpow is selling the red version currently for about $10 more. Battery life, which is also decent, it will last for 6 hours on a single charge, and then with the battery case we get a combined total of around 40 hours or so. They claim that there's 4 microphones built on into the stems, which will help reduce some background noise when making phone calls. It offers touch-sensitive controls that you can use to adjust things like volume, great to see, in addition to the standard play and pause and skip track commands. The drivers on here are using what they call a PUN composite driver. Another interesting feature is in terms of making phone calls, once you pick up a call, you can also tap on the buds to mute your sound completely. So if someone else is calling and you're in a meeting, for example, you don't want the mic to pick up your voice or any surroundings. With that being said, this is still a very budget pair of buds, so we don't get any extras in terms of it is using a Realtek chip, which means it supports codecs like AAC and SBC, has Bluetooth 5.0, but doesn't have Qualcomm's aptX, for instance. So latency will be just average. This is IPX4 rated, so you can use it when going to the gym. Aside from the M9s themselves, we have a USB Type-C charging cable, always neat to see. The casing here will charge up in about 2 hours or so. We also have some spare silicone tips, which are again accented red in this red edition, which looks pretty cool. We also have the regular assortment of instruction manuals. Taking a closer look at the casing of the M9, it is constructed out of a polycarbonate plastic, but feels surprisingly sturdy and not too hollow for something that is so cheap. We do have LED lights on the front, which will glow when trying to indicate how much charge is left in the battery case, and you can see it flash onto life. Each LED represents about 25%, and on the bottom here we have just the Type-C charging port, and that is pretty much it. The overall casing size is average. It is still pretty compact compared to, say, Redmi's AirDots, which I would say is a very close competitor just because the pricing of both are very similar, but the M9s are ever so slightly cheaper if you go for the black edition, and the dimensions you can see here can still slide pretty easily into pockets. Again, something like Apple's AirPods, a little bit longer, but not too far off. Door here is magnetic, so it opens and closes with a click, but the hinge here can kind of be a bit stiff at times. You have to kind of press it back and it locks into place when you want to fully open it up and see the buds inside. Whenever you remove them, they will automatically turn on and start pairing with each other and your phone. It's very quick to connect and takes less than a split second once you pop them out. Taking a closer look at the design of the buds, they have a stem design similar to the AirPods. We have a LED status light there, one of the microphones, and then a second pair pointed closer to your mouth at the stem, as you can see there. Overall, they're very lightweight. They're constructed again out of this polycarbonate plastic, and the Mpow logo area is touch sensitive for controlling things. We have a charging contact point, and the tips are slightly pointed inwards. It offers overall a pretty ergonomic fit, at least for me when I was testing them out earlier. They felt very snug and secure, and I could do things like jog, run around, and they still stayed in place without really falling loose, and were comfortable. Still, I will say that the stem can sometimes poke or touch the side of your face when you're wearing them. A difference compared to something that doesn't have a stem, for instance, can feel even more invisible at times. Moving into the audio quality and performance, overall I would say that the M9 are pretty good. They're definitely above average, but I wouldn't say they're the best sounding pair of buds that I've ever tried. Starting with the pros, there's definitely a good amount of bass here, so if you're listening to something with a drum beat or EDM bass, you can definitely feel a kick as it punches and hits. Otherwise, it's very clean sounding, so there's not really any hints of static, hissing, or distortion in the background, even if you pause the music or turn the volume down. Trebles is the area where I think it could be maybe a bit more detailed. the highs aren't as sparkly by contrast, and instead we have a slightly more muted experience. It's still very pleasant. Perhaps it's just been a little unfortunate in terms of coming immediately after the Padmate Pamu Quiets, which are one of the best sounding pairs of buds that we've reviewed. So anything by contrast will seem like a slight step down. But we are also talking about a significant price difference. Overall, if comparing it with, say, the Redmi AirDots, I would say that these already sound better than the AirDots in terms of being cleaner without any hints of, again, background hiss or distortion, and also offering more bass. They never got disconnected with my device after walking around the room with them, and the left and right sides were also performing pretty well in sync with each other. In terms of watching a video on YouTube, it was also enjoyable. It's worth noting that, again, these don't have, say, a specific low latency mode for gaming, so if you're doing that, you definitely will still notice moments where after triggering something on screen, the audio will come in a split second later. The microphone quality also is slightly above average, better than the Redmi AirDots because the mics are closer to your mouth, and because it has 4 of them, it does reduce a bit of the background noise. So that's more or less it as far as our hands-on review of the Mpow M9. It's great to see that this company is still around making low-cost, affordable TWS wireless buds, again, being one of the more popular brands initially when TWS-style wearables were still new to the market. The M9, more than anything else, is just a refinement of offering more intuitive controls, as well as giving us a few more color schemes like this red and black edition, which I think looks very cool, still at a very affordable price. Audio quality is solid for a budget pair. It's clean, offering a good amount of bass, a tight seal, and also very satisfying mids. So you can check out more details if you're interested in the links down below, but for now that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. That's been the Mpow M9.